Hello and welcome to In Depth, the new review show from the Geek Zone and me. I am Iron Will, as normal. And basically what In Depth is a show where I take a tank like the 110. Today's one is going to be about the 110. And after a few hundred games and I really start to get a feeling for a tank, I'm going to do an in-depth sort of assessment on the tank and show you how I play it, show you what equipment I have on it, show you what I think is good about it and not so good about it, and what is my conclusion about the tank. And it's going to be about tier 5 tanks upwards, nothing under tier 5. It may not be very many tier 5s at all. There may be things, mostly tier 6s to 7s up to tier 10. But I thought I'd start off with 110 because I have formed some very, very strong opinions about these tanks, and some of these opinions are very, very good. And about tanks in general, some of them could be really, really strong and not so good. I could be sitting here and telling you how shit a tank is in my personal opinion. I think one thing you've got to remember is these are my own personal opinions, and if you don't like them, don't watch the video. It's pretty much as simple as that, guys. I know people are not going to agree with me everywhere. This is the 110 Chinese tier 8 heavy. My personal opinion is I think it's one of the best tier 8 heavies in the game. A lot of people hate pike-nosed armor and they're going to disagree with me, but these are my personal opinions, and so let's just keep this friendly, yeah? But anyway, the 110 is a tier 8 Chinese heavy tank. And in my opinion, like I said, it is one of the best tier 8 heavy tanks in the game. It is a fantastic gun and some fantastic frontal armor as well as frontal turret armor. On the sides and rear, on the other hand, it is pretty damn trash. It has some massive weak spots, but first of all, I'm just going to go through general stats, tell you where they are pretty much compared to other tanks, and then I'm going to go through some of the good points of the tank and some parts that may not be as good or maybe shit. And then I'm going to go through sort of my play style and show you the equipment I've got, tell you why I've got the equipment, tell you why I've got crew skills that I have got, and then I'm going to show you some gameplay footage as well as maybe some armor testing through this video, and show you really what this thing can bounce, what things it can't bounce, how I play it, show you some cool like examples of how I play it, and so on and so forth. So when I say it's going to be in-depth, it is going to be pretty damn in-depth. The video finishes when it finishes. It could be 15 minutes, it could be 40 minutes. It all depends on how long I take to really describe this tank and put my feelings across as for this tank. Personally, I love this tank to bits. The 110 I think is one of the best tier 8 heavy tanks, and the reason for that is its armor and its gun. So let's go through some stats. It has 1,550 hit points, which is on the higher end of the hit point scale. You're looking at something like the Tiger 2 having the similar amount of hit points there as this does, and the weight is not that heavy. It's only 51 tons, and I have got equipment all attached and ready to go and everything like that. Or I think my ammo is completely full here. Yep, you see I'm loading the full capacity of 40 rounds in this gun. No premium. I try not to play with premium, and that is what the weight limit goes up to. It may extend over 51.27 if you start loading stuff like premium consumables and stuff like that. And but it is a pretty light tank for something that is a heavy tank at tier 8. It's not light. It's just lighter than some of the other tier 8 heavies and tier 8 tank destroyers. So we're looking at the engine power, which is only 580. This thing doesn't accelerate very fast. It is a lot faster, or reasonably faster, than other heavy tanks at similar tiers, stuff like the Tiger 2, but it is not a very quick tank. It is a heavy tank nevertheless. Speed limiter of 40. It does hit that speed limit of 40. It doesn't get there very quickly. It doesn't get there very slowly. Again, it's pretty damn average for the speed to weight ratio. Traverse speed is actually at 30 degrees per traverse speed. Now, it's one of the best traverse speeds in the tier 8 heavy line. I've looked at stuff like the Tiger 2 and even the French AMX 5100, and they have a similar traverse speed, if not the same. So you're looking at a pretty good traverse speed for a tier 8 heavy tank. I'm saying for a tier 8 heavy tank because compared to something like a tier 8 medium or a tier 8 light, it's not going to even come into the same class as it. So we're looking at the frontal hull, which is only 120 on the front. You may be thinking that's shit, but it's not. With this pike nose design like we have here, we have fantastic angling from coming down and through the pike nose as well. It has got some major weak spots, but I will get onto that in a minute. It also has a 90 on the sides and 60 on the rear, so we are looking at some pretty bad armor on the sides and rear. Yes, the tracks do eat a couple of shots, but it's not going to stop anything at all, and you should not be angling this tank at all. If you are engaging an enemy, you want to stay as straight as possible unless they are aiming at your lower glaciers, and you know they are. The best chances you're going to get in this tank is if you stay as straight as possible at all times, unless you know they're aiming for your lower glaciers. Therefore, you should angle to about this, and they should bounce, but it is very, very weak, and you will get penetrated on there. So keep straight and try and hide that lower glacis if you can. We're looking at turret traverse here, which is 210, and then it's also got a very, very nice curvy design as well. This thing, get it hulled down, and again, you can bounce shots like there's no tomorrow. This turret is absolutely fantastic. Weak spots are probably just on the top here. If you shoot down on this plate here, you can be penetrated very easily, as well as the cupola hatches that can be penetrated very, very easily. Some tier 8 10 8 tanks can penetrate this. When you're looking at something like a tier T34, or even the top end gun on the Jag Panther 2 can penetrate this tank, but they are some of the only tanks. There are most likely a few exceptions again, but most tier 8 tanks will bounce frontally on this tank. And in the gameplay I'm going to show you at the end of this video, I will show you that you can bounce many, many shots. Stuff like the Waffenträger will bounce. Other 110s will bounce. From tests I've done in the past, you need probably about 225 penetration to go through the front of this tank. That's the sort of number I have in my head, and that seems to do me pretty well when I'm playing games. If I know a tank's got more than 225, I back off, I cover up, I poke out and out, in and out, in and out, try not to get shot at because he's going to penetrate me. If you do angle your armor and show this glacis here, the upper hull plate, sorry, here, like this, you are going to get shot. This is negating your armor to close to 220 hull. It's a little bit more than 220 millimeters, but not much more, and you are going to get shot. It's going to go, bullets are going to go straight through this tank. You're looking at tier 7 tanks going straight through this, even some tier 6s if you angle like this. So you want to, again, as I said earlier, keep your tank as straight as possible. I'm going to skip out the gun here and we'll talk about that later because it is one of my favourite things about this tank, as well as the armour. And we're going to go straight down to turret traverse. The turret traverse here is at 26 degrees per second, as you can see here. And it is actually a tiny bit slower than the IS-6, the IS-2's turret. I won't attach that just yet. But yeah, the turret T10 is the turret you want. It's the tier 8 turret instead of the tier 7 turret. The tier 7 110 turret is the turret you get on the IS-2, and it's not got very good armor, especially at the tier 8 level, but it has a slightly better traverse. This thing has a slower traverse at 26 degrees per second, and that is again similar to some of the better tier 8 tanks with the turret traverses, and it is pretty good for a tier 8 tank. This thing is quite mobile, it is quite speedy, but it's not as speedy as something like a tier 8 heavy or light tank, as I said before. So the turret traverse is pretty good. View range at 380 is average for a tier 8 again. Signal range at 750 is of course same as most tier 8 tanks. Tier 8 on most tanks, you're pretty much going to get the tier 10 radio anyway, which will have a 750 or plus view range, signal range even, sorry. So we've gone through all the basic stats like the armor and stuff like this. Again, this tank is a frontally very strong hulled armor and turreted armor. Sides and rear the same as most tier 8 pike nose tanks like the IS-3. Very, very, very weak. you're looking at 148 on the size, which isn't that weak, and you probably will bounce a few shots off something like a tier 6 or 7 tanks with only 175 penetration, but it is not going to save your ass in a tier 8 or 10 game, and you will be getting into tier 8 or 10 games with this tank. The rear is only 50 on the turret, and you will just get stuff going straight through that from anything from tier 6s and upwards. When you get into that tier 8 spot, you can rip the shit. This tank is fully upgraded for me, and all the in-depth reviews or assessments, whatever you like to call them, will be coming in at fully upgraded looking tanks. So let's have a look at this beautiful gun here, because this is one of my most favorite things about this tank. So we're looking at a 100mm gun here, the T62, the 62 100T. It's the 100mm tier 9 gun for this tank. It is a fantastic gun at tier 8. Its rate of fire is 6, and with stuff like a gun rammer and the vents I've got in this tank, as well as maybe brothers in arms, which I'm almost got, the reload is fantastic. You're looking at about 8.7 seconds, I think, and when I've got brothers in arms, that's just going to decrease even more. So this tank can fire quite quickly, and I love it to bits for it. Average penetration at tier 8 being 215. That's better than the T-54's Top Gun, the tier 9 Russian medium tank, and this gun at tier 8 is absolutely brilliant. I'll get on about it in a minute, but the WZ111 Model 14, which is the tier 9 variant of this tank, does get this gun as well, and I'll talk to you why I think that's a bad thing in a minute. Its accuracy is only its accuracy is only 0.38 at 100 meters, which isn't the best, but it's never caused me any serious problems. I have been able to hit targets at 100 meters plus quite easily with this tank, and I do love this gun to bits. It is one of my favorite tier 8 guns with the penetration. Of course, it does have that low alpha damage, which means you can't one shot stuff like M4s, Stuarts and stuff like that, or M5 Stuarts even. It only has 320 alpha damage. Unlike stuff like the IS-6, which has 390, with the IS-6 you can just turn around and smash an M5 Stuart in the face and one kill him, one bang him. With this, you cannot do that, but it does have the faster fire rate, it does have the better penetration. The aim time is slightly better as well, I think, at 2.9. It is a very, very, very good gun at tier 8. Tier 9, tier 10, you may be struggling a bit. Tier 9 maybe not so much, but tier 10 you will be. But if you know how to shoot tanks, you will be perfectly fine. The WZ111, I think Model 14, also gets this gun. Why I think that's going to be a problem is you will be continuously getting tier 10 matchmaking with that tank, and you're going to need to try and get this 130mm gun as fast as possible. The penetration goes up to 244. You get that tier 10 gun, and you're going to be perfectly fine after that. It's got a fantastic average damage of 490, which is kind of insane. Of course, your accuracy goes down, your aim time stays the same, and your rate of fire dramatically decreases, but you do have a fantastic gun at 244mm penetration and 490 alpha damage. So that is going to be a whopping gun. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the WZ11114, rush the 130mm, and try and stay off this 110mm. Sorry. For me personally, I do not think it's going to be a huge problem, because I do know a lot of weak spots of tanks. If you're not very good at shooting weak spots of tanks, you may have some issues with this gun at tier 9. But other than that, I really don't think it's going to be a problem. I think I will be fine. Some of you may not be. It's completely down to playstyle and personal preference on gun, I believe. So, we've gone through the gun, we've gone through the hull armor, and two things that I love about this tank are the gun and the hull armor. They are the two things that stand out dramatically for me. Yes, it's slightly quicker in mobility and speed than other tier 8 heavy tanks, but for me, it doesn't exceed those expectations as much as something like a medium tank. So I'm a very, very heavy medium driver. As you can see in my garage, I've got the Cromwell, the Comet Centurion, Centurion 7.1. I have the Lorraine tier 9. So I like driving my medium tanks. I like fast tanks, and for me, this does not feel like a medium tank. Something like the IS-6 feels a lot more medium tankish than this tank does. So for me, the speed and the mobility weren't a big factor in what I think what makes this tank good. So what makes this tank good? In my personal preference, I think the armor and the gun do, not the speed and mobility. I think that's just a little added extra, and when I see little, I mean little. The bad things about this tank are its gun depression. This is one of the killer things. It does not have very good gun depression at all. After playing the Centurions 1, Centurion Mark 1, Centurion 7-1, the thing that really gets me when I come back to these Chinese and Russian tanks is the gun depression every time. It takes me 2 or 3 games to get into it, and when I get into it I'm fine, but gun depression is a big no-no for this tank. It's not as bad as some tanks, but it is pretty horrific. So I would say when you're driving this tank, keep an eye out for that. The other problem with this tank as well is also the armor. Now you may be thinking, Will, you've just mentioned armor being a fantastic thing, and it is a cracking thing, but earlier in the video I spoke about this lower glacis, and it's pretty big. If I'm looking at a tank like this, you can see it is pretty whackingly huge there, and it is easily penetrable. When you're not angling this tank, it is very easily shot straight through. Most guns can go straight through it in the tier 8 you're going to be playing. And if you're angling like this, they shoot your upper hull. If you're angling like this, they shoot your lower glacis. There is no need to shoot premium in this tank. I have said many times before, I think premium should not be used in the game. There is no need to really use it, especially at this tank. If you are firing at this tank and shooting premium, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your credits. The cupola up here, this hatch here, they are very small, and most of the time you are going to miss, but there are weak spots nevertheless. And this huge lower glacis here, this tank is riddled with weak spots. Shoot the weak spots. 1, 2, 3. Aim for the biggest one. That's my suggestion to you. If you run into me on the battlefield, you could easily rape this tank, as long as you either have very high alpha or very high DPM and a hit pool, a health pool big enough to sustain 2 or 3 shots from this gun. And as this gun doesn't have the high alpha damage, you probably do have a hit pool at tier 8 or 9 or 10 to sustain some damage. If you're in a lower tier tank tier, hide, shoot the back of the tank, you should be fine again. It's got a slower traverse speed, slower turret traverse speed as well than lower tier tanks of the medium and light tank variety, so you should be able to circle this thing with not a massive amount of problem. So just shoot the rear, shoot the sides, and you should be perfectly fine. So that's my likes and dislikes about this tank. Overall, I think this tank is a brilliant machine. I think it's one of the best tier 8 tanks just because of its ability to bounce most of the tier 8s. You get top of the game in this thing, you can brawl like there's no tomorrow, and the gameplay I'm going to show you at the end of the game will show you how you can play this tank insanely well. With that 100mm gun, you can penetrate a huge amount of tier 8s as well. You can use your frontal armor to bounce a huge amount of tier 8s, and you can really decimate these tanks. Platooned up, they are insane. You both have vert stabs, gun rammer, and your vents, as well as 100% plus crew. You're going to be doing some serious damage because you're going to have pretty high DPM with both of you firing 320 damage per shot. It's going to be insane. Get 3 of these tanks together, fully upgrade them, and start raping. This is a tank I will definitely be keeping in the future because it is close to my heart. It is something I love to play. I am a medium driver at heart, but I love this tank, and it has brought me closer to driving heavy tanks because if there's tier 10 tanks like this, I am 100% all in. The one thing that gets me pissed off is when you have really big weak spots on this tank, like the lower glacis, with instead of people just firing normal ammo, they fire prem. And yeah, it's an easy thing to do, and I think that is the one thing that really pisses me off about this tank, is the amount of people who just don't know much about this tank, they fire prem at it. So that's another reason I'm making this video, not so you can learn about this tank and learn if you want it or not and understand it, also so you can understand how to beat it. I've given you stats. Take the stats of statistics I've given you and go out and kick this tank's ass, or get trashed by it, either way, because this thing is a machine. I love it a bit. So I think I've gone through pretty much all the statistics now of the tank and what I think's good about it and what I think's not so great about it. Let's go through my crew and I'll show you exactly what I have here. So if I just bring up their personal files, I start off with a commander here. So we're looking at my commander, who I've smacked Sixth Sense off straight away, just because I think Sixth Sense is a game-changing ability. If you know when you have been spotted, then you are going to do some serious damage. You know when you're spotted, you know when you're hidden, you know when to shoot, you know when to move back, you know when to move in. They're the sort of things and knowledge, if you know how to use that intel you're getting given from the game, then you can do some destructive ability with this tank. 400 games played in this tank, guys, and so you can see that I love it a bit. Absolutely love it. Average experience per battle is 653, which is pretty big. It's quite a lot, actually, I would say. Yeah, I like this tank. This tank's freaking awesome. So we'll go straight to my gunner now. The gunner, I have put sharpshooter on it, which improves accuracy during turret rotation. I like having guns that are very accurate, very fast reload, very fast aim time, and stuff like that. So having improved accuracy during turret rotation gives me maybe even half a second to stop for waiting. If I have half a second extra and then I can fire when my aiming reticule is going in, that helps me out dramatically, and that's another thing. Brothers in Arms will help with that as well, and I cannot wait until I get it, because it's going to help so much. Again, this here, I really wasn't sure what to put on my loader, if I'm honest. Crew skills is something I'm new to. Quickie Baby's helping me a lot with it with his videos, so thank you for that, Quickie Baby, though you probably won't be watching this video. And if you know Quickie Baby, spam him with this video just so you can hear the thank you part. Yeah, I put this on it because I thought the chance to loading between HE and AP that I have would be very would come in handy. Really, stave stowage, I did not think I really needed a huge amount on this tank because it has that armor, because you're going to be bouncing a lot of shots. I didn't think stave stowage was going to be that needed, really. Maybe I was wrong, maybe I'm wrong with this skill, but yeah, I've never actually had it work. It's meant to give me a chance to switch shell types automatic, like straight away, a very, very small chance, but it's never done it for me. But hey ho. Smooth riding, improving accuracy when firing on the move. This again is to fit my play style of quick aim time. Again, it's another one of those accuracy things. If I'm driving and turning my turret to keep the moving, keeping the pressure on, I like playing this tank very, very aggressively, especially if I'm playing in platoons. So keeping this tank moving, keeping my turret focusing on different targets, bang, bang, move target, bang, bang, move target, is something I like to do and like to play with this tank. So that's something I thought would help me out dramatically as well, is that keeping the movement going, keeping my accuracy down as I'm moving, as I'm turning my turret was a big help to me. And in fact, I personally think to match my playstyle, these abilities fit me very, very nicely. The only one I'm not really sure about is the loader, but the rest of them I'm really happy with. And then I'll get my Brothers in Arms, my repair skill, and then I'll probably look back on my screw skills and see what else I can do and what I can improve on it. So when it comes down to equipment, I have got vertical stabilizers Mark II, which gives me a 20% accuracy during movement and turret rotation. Again, backing up my crew skills here, making the best out of the abilities I've got with my equipment and making the best out of my equipment with my abilities. So this really does help, again, with my playstyle being accurate, keeping moving, keeping the turret moving, mobile, so that really helps. Keeping my aim load time down with, again, 100% crew. My load time on my Brothers in Arms is going to help as well. I've also got my vents as well, 5% to all crew skills, so they're actually 105% crew plus the perk and a half bit. So when I have a really small aim time anyway, small reload time, sorry, anyway. It's normally about 10 seconds. I've managed to get it down to about 8.5, so that's pretty good. The gun lane drive has helped that, and large caliber gun rammer, sorry. That thing has helped dramatically. I would say if your tank can fit this, It's a no-brainer. Put it on. If your tank can have one of these, put it on automatically. I think that's a must. And then, of course, the improved ventilation class 3 for, as I said earlier, the plus 5% to all crew skills. Helps my aiming time, helps my accuracy, helps with my reload, helps with everything on the tank. And it just makes the tank a little bit faster, a little bit more mobile, shoots a bit quicker, aims a bit quicker, and just generally a little bit better in every single way. Shout out to Wargaming. What I would like to see is maybe a tab around these statistics. I like when you pick a engine, it now highlights, as you can see there, weight, load limit, engine power and speed limit have changed to a white color because I'm hovering over this engine specifically. I like that a lot. I think it's a fantastic addition. What I would like is a little toggle down here or something, and so I can toggle it to see the default statistics of the tank, and then toggle it back on so I can see the statistics of the tank when my crew is equipped to it, when equipment is equipped to it. So I can see, okay, here's the default statistics, put the toggle over and say, okay, well, with my crew, my aim time is actually this, this, and this. My rate of fire is actually this, this, and this. My view range is this, this, and this. Because it increases with the different equipment you actually have on. But that's just it. That's just my personal opinion Wargaming, and I think it's quite a good thing you should be able to do. Anyway, let's get on to some gameplay, guys. I hope this little bit has been informative and very, very good for you guys to learn how to kill this tank and play this tank in the future. I hope this has actually sort of got you guys into the habit of maybe ditching that IS-3, which I really do not like, and switching over to this tank, which is a beast. And I'm hoping actually this gameplay will definitely change your mind if you haven't already decided to grab this tank yet. So I'll see you in about 30 seconds. It's me and Willet in the Geek Zone clan tag and all this jazz. If you want to join the Geek Zone clan tag, then please do go to the description below and submit me a request. You don't need to know anything, you don't need to do anything, you just need to want this little thing here, which is a Geek Zone logo, which actually isn't showing up. Okay, scrap that. Well, you get a little Geek Zone logo on your tank. For some reason it's not showing up in the replay, but never mind. So if you want one of those, go to the description and just fill in an application. You don't need to know anything, you don't need any certain tanks or anything like that, guys. So, hey ho. So, what we have here is two 110s top of the game. This is a very, very deadly matchup for the enemy team. Two 110s top tier, and sort of two tier 10s top of the game with some really capable drivers who know how to drive these tanks behind them is pretty damn deadly, especially when you've got no tier 9s to back you up. This is because the armor is just insane. The stuff that can maybe be able to penetrate me in this game is the Jag Panther 2 actually has not got the tier 10 gun, so he cannot penetrate me. The Su 152, I don't think he can penetrate me. And then the T-32s, I don't believe they can penetrate me either. What happens here is I end up tracking that Su M5. That was me giving him a ram kill there with my side of my track. Well, it actually shot him directly, and because of the low alpha of this gun, you can't do one shots and stuff like that. So if you want to do that, grab an IS-6. So here we're going into the town at this sort of angle because I know there will be tanks directly in front of me. I know I'll be able to bounce quite a lot of the shots. The T-32s, I'm not sure if they can directly penetrate my front or not. I don't think they can. I know pretty much hardly any tanks can. There is a Waffenträger which I zoom in and put a shot into straight away. We have a 110 and a 244 on our side there, and I'm just trying to keep my armor straight as possible. Me and Willet both playing similarly, very, very similar. I'm just trying to keep our armor forward. In a minute we will go for a rush because we don't like waiting around these tanks. If we are platooned up together, we like being strong, heavy. And I could have finished him off, but I saw the more dangerous target, which is the Waffenträger poke out there. Sadly, I'm not sure why, but I didn't take the shot. I really should have then. As you can hear, people bouncing shots and stuff there. Pretty sure I put a shot into the side of the turret of that T-44. Will it bouncing quite a few shots there. Not sure why he's whining about being a pay noob, but never mind. there you go. I finished off the KV-1S because a dead tank at the end of the day is a dead tank. I just bounced a shot from a Waffenträger, and as you can see there, I've got a mod that tells me what ammo type he is using, just in case I need to know if they're using gold. So I shoot this guy, and he completely freaks out. His tank just goes weird as, and someone finishes him off very, very nicely for me. And then I put a shot into the back of that 110, and kill him there. So me and Will have basically fed up and waiting around. We've got a nice reload, we've got nice armor, so we decided to just go for it. So I go over and I get penetrated there by that KV-2. He is using the AP gun, and he goes straight through my lower glaciers. The same as this T-32. Straight from my lower glaciers there. Which is, yeah, they're aiming well. They're doing very, very well. They're putting nice shots in. Me and Willet are playing quite aggressively here, just trying to get rid of these tanks. So we got rid of the KV-2. We got just about to get rid of the T-32. And Willet, no, sorry, the Super Persian grabs the kill, and we turn left to try and finish off this T-32. A huge amount of tanks here. A really good DPM. As soon as I see everyone aiming for him, I take a shot, turn around, and start going for the Waffenträger. I know this tank, that T-32, is not going to last. So I move in, I donk the shot, I hit up one of those concrete wall posts. I can't wait until patch 9 or 8.10, I can't remember which one it was, where you'll be able to shoot some of those and actually lose a small amount of penetration, but you'll be able to shoot through objects. I cannot wait for that. I'm on 3 kills now. I've pretty much just sort of swept up some kills. I mean, I got the M5 at the beginning of the game, and here comes another donk shot, guys. You won't be able to believe this. Watch this. Take a shot and it hits that barrier. My god, I'm an idiot. So I go for a quick round, he's not even looking at me. He takes out the Super Persian as the Waffenträger is going. It's pretty damn good. But I did bounce a shot from it earlier, so it sort of shows you how good the armor is. The only time I've actually taken damage in this game is when I went over the crest of that hill. Again, the gun depression is not great, so I just took loads of shots there. So I'm on 4 kills and 2,500 damage, and it's early days still. The game's not won yet. We have got a pretty good control of the cap circle, and we have won this game pretty much. So the Su-100 in chat is telling us just to cap, guys, and I'm thinking right now, me and Will are thinking brothers in arms. So we're going to try and grab that brothers in arms now. These tanks are very, very capable. They'll be able to get brothers in arms, should be able to get brothers in arms very easily if you can play it. So we're both going to head around here to try and head off that Hellcat and see if we can get around him so Willet can get the kill on him and finish him off very nicely there. So he pokes out there, and I see the Jag Panther, and I'm decided, fuck it, I'm going to go for the Jag Panther. That bitch is mine. Shoot his lower glaciers there and engine him as he bounces off my armor, and then the ISU 152 actually shoots him just before he dies from my engineer and kills him. So I could be on 5 kills now, but sadly I'm only on 4 and 3,900 damage. Willet did get the brothers in arms against the Hellcat, so that was fine there. I see the M4 A3E2, and I'm thinking, right, with the only tanks left in the game, I need to kill this guy and stop him from spotting me, otherwise that artillery is going to smash me face in. The top of the armor of this tank is not very good. As you can see there, the engine bay is very, very exposed. Getting hit by an artillery is ouchie ouchie. So you can see the ISU is going to start raging in chat. He's going to do this until the end of the game, because right now what I'm thinking is 2 tanks left, 4 kills, Top Gun. You know what? I want my Top Gun. I want my Top Gun. My Top Gun is very, very important to me in this tank. I love it to bits, and this tank deserves a Top Gun. So Willet's going to head back to cap, and he's going to start capping. As I wait for this M4A3E2, I'm going to sit behind these bushes here and just wait for him to pop out, and then as soon as he does, I'm going to smash one into him, and hopefully I'll get the tank. Again, the T-44 is now going on in this chat. We've got 7.5 minutes left to cap. One tank takes about 4 minutes 5 seconds to cap. We are fine. We're against a light tank and artillery. There's 2 of us. The light tank, sorry, a medium tank and artillery. The light tank pops up. I completely donk a shot there, which is ridiculous. I should have stopped, waited, bounced a shot for him. I have been spotted. The artillery is aiming in on me now. I've got to be careful as shit. So I decide I'm going to get around inside this building. So as I start heading around, I hear a shot from an artillery shell, which lands somewhere near me. I'm not 100% where it is, but I think this replay's sort of conked out again, because I think earlier when I watched it, it was around here somewhere, the artillery shell. So the artillery, I think, is fired. And so I start moving into the town, and we're thinking, right, the artillery is around here somewhere. All I need is one more kill, and I've got my top gun. So we start having a conversation with him into the chat, saying, come on man, let's give us a top gun. And you know what, now I think back on it, it's kind of cheap asking for a top gun, isn't it? Yeah, you got your top gun, but you didn't really earn it. And we've just changed the name of Top Gun. If you looked on chat, that T44 has just said, yeah, let him top hun. So a top hun it is then. So we're going to speed this game up because it's not very interesting. It's pretty much just me going around looking for a Jag Panther 2 and will it capping, so we can win this game. Oh yeah, and a ISU in chat going absolutely crazy. I would seriously say go back a few seconds, pause, and just watch some of the things this ISU says. So, but while this is going on, while I'm looking for a Jag Panther, we're gonna say DW Panther even. I'm going to sort of conclude this video and like tell you what I love about it. Fast fire rate. Absolutely love this fire rate to bits. Love this gun, as I said. The GW Panther's just popped up in town, chased down Willet. Willet's decided to actually stop and let me get it. So I'm just going to slow the video down here. Watch him. Get one hit on him. Again, the low alpha damage. I'm not going to smack him once. I'm going to have to put 2 shots into him. Again, the accuracy being not great, but okay for me to be able to do this. And the game just shut down. Okay, guys, I'm sorry you're looking at a black screen here. I'm sorry. But I'm going to quickly conclude. Things I love, the gun, the armor, fantastic. Things I don't like, the gun depression, the huge weak spots. Do I think this tank is good? I think this tank is fantastic. And I'm going to start giving tanks rate out of 10 for their tier. So for tier 8, fully upgraded, I'm going to give this tank a 9 out of 10 because there are things it can improve on, but it is quick, mobile for heavy tank. It's got a fantastic good gun and it's got fantastic armor. The main thing that lets this tank down is literally gun depression. The weak spots you have to have, but gun depression lets this tank down, and that's pretty much the only thing I can actually think of. So guys, thanks for watching. Please put in the comment section what you think about this video. If you think you want me to continue, if there's things I could change at all, tell me what you think about my new editing. Something I did want to do and I've been wanting to do for a while, just haven't had time, so it takes me a little bit longer to do these videos, but please tell me what you think. Please do share this video as it took quite a while to make, and how you think I can improve it, blah blah blah. If you did like it, click like and subscribe. Visit the Facebooks for the updates on the Geek Zone Minecraft servers, and if you want to get involved with the Geek Zone Minecraft servers, it will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. I am Will. This was in-depth reviews or analyses or whatever I decide to call it, and I will see you later.